Hello, so apparently they've given it a new name. It's now called COVID-19. I assume the CO bit means coronavirus, or maybe more of it means that. I don't know why they've given it a new name, because I thought it was nCoV-19 as its official name, but it's now COVID-19. So we'll see if that's a term YouTube demonetizes or if they're slow to catch on. So this stream is going to be all about, and we're going to try and keep it on topic, because I know these streams like to wander. So I don't want to start getting Geiger counters down and playing with, they're actually those two are ionization chambers, not Geiger counters, but I'm already getting sidetracked. So this stream is going to be all about sensible precautions, not, really like go live in a bunker stuff. Well, it is a stream, it's just it hasn't got stream in the title. Yeah, apparently 0 people are watching, but I've got 5 likes, so that doesn't quite make sense. But yeah, the idea is with this that we're going to have a stream where we talk about like sensible precautions you can take, where people can throw in ideas. Thank you very much, Travis. Oh, and you've got a notification today, so that's interesting. I'll have to call them all COVIDs for a while until YouTube catches on. So basically, as I said, it's going to try and keep it as a sensible discussion where we talk about things like, what public places might be problems, problem spots, things like that. Respirators that would work, wouldn't work. Sensible food to store up on if you think you need to store food in your house and isolate yourself that way. So I think that should be, yeah, so interesting. But yeah, so if you didn't hear, the pretty scary thing in the UK, again, like let's not try and find it scary, let's just be, cautiously optimistic. I don't know if that's the right term to use something like this, but basically in the UK they've had like a doctor's surgery in a pharmacy where people who worked there have been shown as positive for being infected now, which is a point Arnold I think is just sort of raising. So that's quite worrying, because it means any patients that have been there have potentially been infected recently. Yeah, it certainly looks like a pandemic unfolding. Well, I think a lot of health agencies now are basically admitting it's a pandemic, aren't they? And then they're just on about how do they limit damage from it now, not trying to say, oh no, it's not going to get to a pandemic stage, because what's been going along the whole process of it is, yeah, Corona-chan's another name for it, but yeah, COVID-19 is the official name now rather than nCoV-19. So it started off as coronavirus or Wuhan virus, then it became nCoV-19, and now it's COVID-19. So yeah, in Brighton they had like a doctor's surgery and / pharmacy where people working there have been infected. They had that one bloke who spread it to loads of people unknowingly because he was on a business trip to Singapore or something. He visited friends or family or something at a ski resort in France, and then he came back to the UK and he spread it to both people in France and the UK. And you probably think lots of people on the flights he's been on as well. I assume because it started in 2019 game, it started in about November, December 2019, but most people didn't find out about it till January because China was trying to hush it up. But yeah, because a bad thing for me today was I had to pop to the doctors for my like annual or every 9 months, however long they do it, repeat prescription review. If you're lucky enough not to be ill enough that you ever need repeat prescriptions, basically what it is normally you go to the doctor, they give you a prescription for something, if you go in with symptoms. If you have chronic illness, you normally get repeat prescriptions where you don't really need to see the doctor each time. You just essentially need to tick a box saying I need more of this medication, and then the doctor just has to look and go, yeah, that's fine, and tick it off for you. But yeah, the issue obviously today was because I had to go in for my like 6-month annual, whatever it is, prescription checkup, I was in a waiting room full of people coughing. And then you think, oh dear, because I didn't really, want to wear a mask to the doctors. I thought that would look really off to a lot of people in there. Well, I've got my things still approved, Lloyd, so that's the good thing, and I've got enough stuff stocked up for certain things now. But yeah, today was one of those annoying things where it's like not even seeing the doctor normally. It's just where they basically are trying to save money and say, do you really need this medication? Like, yes, I'm chronically ill. It's not going away. Yeah, you sure? A GP5 with a modern filter, assuming it fits properly and your GP5 is in good condition, would protect you. Wow, actually, there's something saying that. They're thinking it might be airborne now. If it's airborne, that really complicates things, because before, the advice, saying P3 filters, P100 filters would protect you would be absolutely correct. Because if people are coughing and sneezing, the virus microns can't get through the filter because they're piggybacking off of the other things. The issue is if it's properly airborne now, it's hard to say if that would even protect you anymore. I mean, I know they're suggesting to doctors now to wear P3 masks at a minimum, not N95s. So to that extent, you'd hope so. But it literally seems at the moment that, every time there's a development, it's just, it's spreading faster than we thought due to a new infection method, or we've just discovered it spreads in a certain way. I reckon a combination filter might be the best bet at the moment, just because the charcoal in it might absorb, I don't know if the microns, if they'd absorb it or not, but a combination filter where you've got the charcoal behind, just like any filter like this, where you've got the charcoal section behind the particulate section, that might end up becoming necessary now. Like on what all the medical things are previously saying, P3 alone was good enough, and that's what I'd got on all my stuff ready to go and I've been giving people. But now they're saying, it might actually be airborne. And I don't know. We'd need somebody who's a lot more clued in on virology stuff to let us know about this bit now. Yeah, ABEC filters with proper all ABEC filters would have activated charcoal in, because that's what the ABEC bit is. But yeah, ABEC P3, assuming we're not going to have to go to oxygen tank, rebreather levels of protection, hopefully that'll be good enough. So that's the one near me, because they were saying there was Oxfordshire. There's 2 prisoners being tested in Oxfordshire. So it was a prison transfer, was it? And that's what's done it. Yeah. So we're looking at quite a few new UK cases now, aren't we? But I imagine there's going to be a lot of people infected in Brighton. Yeah, I think though, Alan, at least as the media gets more on board with it, the problem with stuff like this is you get the media basically. Somebody said a very good comment on one of my videos. He said they scaremonger when there's nothing to worry about, and then they try and play it down when there is something bad. But as day on day we see the media talking more and more about it, and talking to doctors about measures. There was an actual hour-long thing I was watching with a load of doctors. It wasn't the World Health Organization one, but it was a similar kind of medical university thing being interviewed by reporters and that on it. And they were saying, they'd suggest if anybody is on packed public transport or, doing similar things like that, or caring for people who might have it, go for the full protective gear. They were also doing, I don't actually know what prison it was, I just heard them mention prison near Oxfordshire or prison near Milton Keynes or something. But yeah, what was I going to say about the other thing? It was something in this medical conference thing I watched they were mentioning about. Oh, no, it's actually when I was watching videos in this now, they're actually getting doctors to wear 2 levels of protection. So you know how previously the doctors had the gowns on and the N95 masks and the goggles. Oh, the lucky ones had N95 masks. The first lot just had the surgical masks and they all got infected. Now they've got doctors basically in almost NBC gear with the doctor's gowns on top of that and the full face respirators on. The problem is, Lloyd, if there's not test kits, people can't confirm it. There probably are cases in South America and Africa now. I think the Nigerian Prime Minister or some sort of Nigerian official was saying the other day there's a virus killing a lot of people in Nigeria and they don't know what it is. Because the problem is obviously countries with less developed health systems are going to be hit really hard by this, but they won't necessarily know what it is that's hitting them. What, instead of the metal Type 81, Steve? The last few years, I think. Are they listed on Shalom's site? Is it Shalom Rubber or Shalom? Is it Shalom Rubber? Shalom Rubber. Right, okay, if we look on their website here, there we go. Products. Let's have a look on what products they've got listed. Yeah, it'd be the PA12 filter, I imagine, because the M80 is still the Israeli Type 80 filter M80, which is the one we're all familiar with, and it's a very good filter. PA12, Shalon's new generation of personal filter canisters. Shalon Chemical Industries is proud to present a new generation of personal filter canister manufactured in a flexible, fully automated, state-of-the-art production line. Rates up to 450 canister hour, meeting all potential customers' demands. If I click more details, I wonder if it gives a full readout of what's in it. But that looks very... Well, they've got a picture, actually, of all the filter layers, so it looks bloody good in that regard. Because a lot of companies never show you stuff like that on the product pages. But there you go. So it's got your P3 filter at the front, then another grate, then basically like cotton pads or something keeping the impregnated charcoal in. So apparently they do these in different standards, because there's ones that are like full ABEC 2. I was thinking, looking at the external photo of that canister, it looks very much like, if it's handy in my drawer, and I've not put it in a bag with other filters, which I could have done. Sorry, like a gas mask bag, or I can't get it handy. That's a shame. I think I've put this one in a bag, but... Oh, actually, I know which bag it's in, so I can get one out to show you. But I know we're going a bit off topic from Corona at the moment, but I think it might be worth for people asking about those Israeli filters. My FM12 bag was on here, I'm sure it was. There it is. And don't forget, if you want to support me on here, because YouTube's demonetized a load of these videos, donations are welcome. I really appreciate anybody that donates. Yeah, as soon as I got used to calling it one name, a troubled man, they started calling it another. But yeah, I think the filters that look exactly like that are these ones. So I'll read you out whatever brand these ones were, because these were a bargain when I got them. They're out of date now, but they're still sealed, so I trust them. You know, I've got some in-date NBC filters, but these particular ones, I was thinking it looks a lot like those looking at the pictures. It's not identical, but these are ABEC 2 P3. So that's why they're so bulky, because even the acidic gas and ammonia, they have level 2 protection on, not just like AB2, EK1. So yeah. Reminds me of COVID, as in a crow, COVID. But yeah, so let's go back to discussing practical things in the stream. If people have got questions. No, if you didn't hear Adrian, we're not showing any Geiger counters or anything like that this stream. We're trying to keep it on topic. Oh, the name of the filter. Yeah, sorry. Let's see if we can spot a brand name on it. Oh, there we go. RSG. RSGsafety.com. Let's go have a look at their website. Just to see. Because if RSG Safety do decently priced filters to buy, I would certainly order more of those. Products. Here we go. Right. You'd have to find somewhere that stocks these. Thank you very much, Ron. Right. I've been seeing the World Health Organization, I think it was on today's thing, went, oh, it's airborne. And then went, oh, wait, no, it's not. But there's been Chinese studies saying it. So, you know, there's that website. I think John Campbell's been linking to papers on there, and so's Peak Prosperity and a few other channels. There's that place there where Chinese doctors are saying it's airborne. Let's see if I can find a news article on it. But thank you very much again for the donation. I appreciate that. Yeah, they've renamed it Ghost Jesus, but I'm hoping at the moment that means YouTube will take a while to catch on before they start demonetizing all the videos on it again, which might be good for me and other channels covering it for a while, because you know how they've got a habit of doing it. But yeah, let me see if I can get the thing on. Coronavirus airborne. Right, there's news articles linking here, but none of them have it in the title, even though... Oh. CNN Philippines 14 hours ago said no conclusive evidence that it's airborne. It looks like certain articles are mentioning airborne, but here's this one. Coronavirus could be airborne, Chinese official claims. I'll link you to this one, which is on Newsweek. I don't know how good a site Newsweek is for reliable news, but Zheng Quan, the deputy head of Shanghai Civil Affairs Bureau, told a press briefing on Saturday that the virus can be spread via direct transmission, which involves contact with the infected person. However, the China Daily newspaper reported Zheng also suggested new members of the large coronavirus family, which includes infections like the common cold as well as SARS, is capable of aerosol transmission. Apparently one of the blokes, I don't know if it's that bloke, who was heavily involved in treating a lot of the SARS cases and stuff like that, has suggested this. It seems to be somebody who knows what they're talking about. You know, it's not some no-name doctor. It was one that was involved when the SARS outbreak was a thing. Wow. We've had our first idiot of the stream, so they will be gotten rid of. For the people that don't know, there's a lot of people saying this is some Illuminati New World Order vaccine 5G thing that keeps spamming the video comments. So they're just getting removed, seeing as they're spreading disinformation, even though we don't know a lot of information about this at the moment. And we're having to constantly play catch up with how bad it's getting, apparently. You know, you've still got some people coming on basically saying either it's just a flu, you're paranoid, or no, you don't understand, it's the Illuminati's 4D chess. The thing is, oxide, if it's properly airborne and it's an aerosol, that means you would need a combination filter, I would imagine. Yep. So the big problem is at the moment is obviously, I think everybody is constantly having to play catch up to figure out what kind of protection levels they need to do. Some of them might be LARPing, but sadly I think some of them are very serious. I will let you know when a 5G antenna gets put anywhere near my house, though. Sorry, I'll let you know when a 5G antenna gets put near my house, because I can get all those devices behind me out and see if we can pick anything up, but I very much doubt we will. But yeah, sorry, I've been getting a bit of a sore throat and a cough today. I really hope it's not related, but you never know at the moment. The chat stopped updating. I can't see the chat moving at all. Right, let me know if you can still hear me, but I don't know if I can refresh the chat without closing the stream. Let me do pop-out chat and see if that fixes it. Pop-out chat. Right, good. Yeah, pop-out chat's still working, so I'll just keep the pop-out chat screen open. That's good to know. But yeah, I don't know why that's the case. It's just for sometimes YouTube seems to just randomly have a broken chat system. The one I was suggesting the other day, Hammery, is skiing goggles and like snowboarding goggles. I thought I had them behind me somewhere. I can't spot them, but that's because I have so much fucking clutter in here from all earlier, all the stuff I've been showing. The reason I like these is you can wear them with glasses. But yeah, if it's truly airborne, you'll need to put duct tape over the foam bits on them. But as said, the good thing with these is if you've got a half face respirator with them, you can actually, you know, do that. And they still work with the half face respirators, and it looks like Command and Conquer. So there's that. Jake, if the problem you're running into is if you've bought surplus Israeli filters, they have basically a sticker on them with the expiry date. Lots of sellers rip them off, so they can sell you expired filters and you can't check. Right, stay safe then, ETF Ross. But yeah, they've had a couple of cases fairly near me, and then quite a few other cases in the UK. But the problem is, they think obviously everybody who's been to a doctor's surgery in a different part of the UK probably have it. Thank you, Kane. Right, so with the GP5, if you can't get anything better than the GP5, if your mask is in good condition, there's a GP5 just up there, that's why I'm sort of pointing there. There you go. If your GP5 is in good condition and the valves are still working, and you got a modern filter for it, don't use the old green Soviet filter with the asbestos inside. If it's all in good condition, you know, a modern filter, and it actually makes an airtight fit, then yes, it would be fine. The issue is, for a lot of people, they don't want to go to that effort. Yeah, if you have expired NBC filters, as long as they're not damaged or like they've gotten damp or anything, the P3, P100 front section for like nuclear fallout and biological threats, that will still work fine. I don't think it travels that far, MJ. I think the danger is that it's like people sneezing and coughing in the street. It's not just going to go a few feet from them now. It could potentially just be kind of hovering around in the air, is what I think. No, sadly, Nathan, I've never bothered getting prescription, and so I don't really know. There might be other people that can advise you on that, but I basically just thought, I'm not going to use my glasses if I need to use a mask. You wouldn't even need to tighten them, because actual hazmat level A suits are positive pressure, which you wouldn't manage without a pump anyway. But in terms of how regular NBC suits work, it's just literally a waterproof coverall that stops your skin coming into contact with fluids, basically. Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Green Man. I would certainly suggest to people, yeah, stock up on food and water and things like that, so they can wait it out if need be. Because I bet you they'll be panic buying when, like we've already seen with the masks, when it comes to if the news suddenly says, oh, there's loads of cases in your area, you better stay home. Well, yeah, you've got some people, MJ, at the same time who are literally saying, though, at the same time they're, saying to you about, oh, you're paranoid. They're also like, help, I've not got anything. They get what they deserve, I guess. But I know that sounds horrible, but if you constantly blame other people, when you're not prepared yourself. Yeah, I can totally understand for people who have budgetary restraints and things like that. Is the OZK one the really cool old Soviet suit that kind of looks like a trench coat combined with trousers? If so, yes, that would be absolutely fine. It was designed for kind of nerve agent and chemical warfare. It'd be fine for protecting you from the sniffles, even if it's deadly sniffles. Yeah, I recommended that in the video the other day, Christopher, but wear goggles with it. Just because... There you go. So if you had your Force 8... Tell you what, I'll take my glasses off and then I'll put them back on when I've got all this on. So, yep, get that. Then, obviously, if you're wearing a half mask, what you ought to do, because they said, it can get in via the eyes, a lot of people are saying that now, is wherever I put my goggles, I was just showing off. Help if I realised where I put them. No, I can't remember where I put my snowboarding goggles. Well, there goes that. But I was going to show that you could put the goggles on over the top of them. Oh, there they are. But yeah, this will go with this mask absolutely fine. Just tighten it up a bit more. But yeah, so you might want a rain hood on if it can get in via your ears. I don't know if it can or not, but yeah, you can mix and match these with the thing. But like I was saying, the reason I like that stuff is the old Command and Conquer aesthetic. I suppose if you looked homeless enough as well, that might work. That was one thing I used to find when I worked in the city, you know, when I used to wear the stab-proof vest as well, just because of how dodgy it could get. If you ended up wearing a really scruffy big coat that didn't fit you properly, a lot of homeless people would assume you were homeless and wouldn't bother you for money, which was kind of a nice advantage to it. Oh, thank you very much, MG, and thank you very much, Edge Blackstar. So MG says, now we need to have an NBC suit or something equivalent to one to protect if it actually an aerosol. I don't know if you'd still need an NBC suit. I mean, other than the fact it's easier to take off and decontaminate, but I think you might even end up needing combination filters, as in P3 on its own, it might not even be good enough. You might need, you know, like an A2 P3 filter, just, you know, so it's got a bit of charcoal behind the bit. Yeah, rain clothes would work fine. That's the cheapest way of doing it. It's not in this room, Zach. Every stream, Zach, you come on and just ask to see random old masks. Sorry, you're not going to end up seeing them like that on the stream. Watch the videos I've done on them. Well, it's certainly better than nothing, Magic Platypus. You know, we know for a fact that protects you from a lot of things. So I would personally at least go for that, you know, and have it while you can have it kind of thing. You know, rather than say, I'm not going to get anything because this might not protect me enough. Oh, the Tyvek, weirdly, see that orange suit over there? That's the Tai Chem, which is like the next model up from the Tyvex. Tyvex would be absolutely fine. I've got another brand of suit that's similar to the Tyvex, and I quite like that one. Well, the Acme industrial stuff, Steve, sadly, no. I think it was mostly because, like, the closest I've got to that is something like the Sieb Gorman VistaVision up there on the shelf. I think it was just in general because a lot of the Acme stuff was obviously sold a lot in the US, and you probably didn't ever see it over here for industry stuff. There was domestic stuff like Sieb Gorman and Avon. That you probably, you know, would find Americans would own a lot more of that stuff. Any good advice you're allowed to share from that, Sparrow? But yeah, I've been seeing more and more things now where they're actually putting it as kind of like a front page read me kind of alert thing. And that's not a bad idea, Vladimir, if people are panic buying, going in and coughing, saying, with like some gear on, and then just, you know, waiting for people to get out your way and then buying stuff. I did a video on that the other day, Oxide, but rubbing alcohol that you can dilute yourself, like the stuff behind me there, is a pretty good thing to use. Again, lots of doctors are arguing what can and can't kill the virus. So I'd say go for the slightly more extreme things rather than the weaker things, but any kind of like sanitizer or whatever is better than nothing. Some of them were saying spray bleach, but the thing you have to be careful of with spray bleach is that some of them have different things mixed into it, and they're at different strengths. So if you got one that's too weak, again, it's not going to do anything. If you got one that's too strong, you could burn your skin and things like that. Yeah, that's rubbing alcohol, chemical cucumber. It's just, I like the name rubbing alcohol because I can remember how to pronounce it. If I wouldn't like to be on record saying something that could get me in trouble in the draconian state of the UK, but if everything had collapsed and there wasn't rule of law anymore, I doubt you're going to get prosecuted for breaking the law, basically. Right. The problem is with the GP9 is, as I've said before, there's several variants. Like, technically, the GP9 isn't a mask, right? It's the PPM88. It's often known as the GP9, as far as I'm aware. I mean, some of my Russian viewers can probably correct me on this, but different companies like Briz and a few others made them. I've got one on order, but apparently it might be like a month to arrive from Russia, which is apparently like the MAG model or whatever it's called, which is meant to be quite good. But like my old PPM88, I don't really like, just because some of the parts are quite fragile. It depends how hot the washing machine is, Anonymous. If it's like modern 40-degree cold wash ones, then not really. Yeah, if you're diluting stuff in water, though, to decontaminate water, you'd have to be very careful, though, obviously, that you are using basically plain bleach and not one with all the other shit mixed in, because that's the problem with, like toilet bleach and brands of bleach, is some of them put perfumes and other shit in it. Oh, Ryan's beating you by 5 degrees, Mike. But yeah, yours would be pretty good if it gets to that temperature, I imagine. Cheers, Philip. Yep, some bleaches have sodium hydroxide in as well. Sodium hydroxide is pretty nasty stuff if you get it on your skin. pH 14. Yeah, I know that for certain a toilet bleach we use would not be good for watering down, because it's one of those ones that has a dye in it as well. So if like there's urine in the toilet, it glows bright red in the bleach. So you definitely don't want to be, even if it's diluted, drinking that shit in with the actual bleach. Yeah, that's the problem, Magic Platypus. Everything's for nothing if other people won't follow the quarantine rules. It's like, oh, he said it twice, did he dial it? And then did he both times go, oh, wait, no, I was wrong. And then, yeah, it said it again. But the WHO hasn't been very good regarding this whole coronavirus thing. Oh, thank you very much, Grow Junkie Radio. Yep, I saw they had them in the supermarket marked down today. I was thinking to get one, but then I thought I don't want to appear insensitive if I'm drinking it on stream. But didn't Corona actually have to come out and say our beer has nothing to do with the virus? But I appreciate that, thank you. Yeah, but if yeah, the thing is with thank you, Anonymous Anglo. The thing with what was it? Let's go back on with the WHO. Is apparently the big problem's been since China's been a member of the WHO. Obviously, they've got incentive because they don't want to lose the Chinese money. They want to appease Beijing. So what happens is basically they've constantly been trying to downplay it. And it's quite obvious to anybody. It isn't necessarily always to do with China, but if you've got a conflict of interest, it's generally not a good thing. That's why there's a lot of laws about, people who are on certain boards can't own shares in certain companies and stuff like that because conflict of interests. But apparently it's completely fine for the World Health Organization to be able to say, because we're getting a lot of money from this source, therefore we're going to keep downplaying this. Apparently a conflict of interest doesn't happen there. I'll say the word allegedly because, I suppose you always have to say allegedly with stuff like that, don't you? Probably would depend on the brand and the standard of them. I'll have to dig it out somewhere and do a video on it. Somewhere in this room, I think it's in the box there, a load of gas masks. I've got an actual water pump purifier thing that's, so you can take water from streams and drink it. Yeah. Saudi Arabia sitting on the human rights panel, yeah. When they made Tony Blair the Middle East peace envoy. That's a fucking joke, isn't it? It'd be like making Harold Shipman a doctor. Oh, wait, he was a doctor. But it's that kind of thing. The problem is it's to a degree you think they're lying, incompetent, or the data just can't accurately be recorded, because it's probably a combination of all three rather than they're explicitly lying on every level. Because part of the problem's been that they're not saying anybody's corona positive unless they've had a test kit come back saying they're positive corona, right? The issue is that they don't have enough test kits by like miles and miles. Even Japan doesn't have enough test kits for that cruise liner. So that gives you some idea of just how there's not enough test kits. So what the Chinese can technically do, or the Chinese Communist Party can do, to try and downplay it, is say, well, these people haven't tested positive, so they don't have it. Well, the problem is they evidently have it, a lot of people, but they just don't have the test kits to go around. What we would really need to see first, STLSF, is if you don't have underlying medical conditions, what we're going to need to see is in Western countries, or whatever sort of countries are in your region, what the accurate infection to death rates are in those sort of countries. Because the problem is at the moment is obviously the more overstretched the medical services are, the more people will die. We also need to know what age it kills of people, underlying health conditions and things like that. Yep, I saw that there was several newspapers reporting on that. But it was basically if you went on satellite tracking, wasn't it? You could see that although none of the factories are running there, there's this big kind of either from medical waste or bodies being burnt. But all the crematorium things are being leaked, aren't they? Of where you see the footage of hundreds of bodies just piled up ready to be burnt, and all that sort of stuff. Where also the workers saying they're just completely overloaded because where they'd normally do like a 4-hour shift a day, they're now having to just run the crematoriums 24/7. Yeah, that's what what's his name was saying. Is it Dr. John Campbell? I'm trying to remember his name. A very good channel that's done a load of videos on it recently. But he was saying the issue is again, even if you get pneumonia from it, and you can treat people very effectively with breathing assistance for pneumonia. The very big issue is that you can't treat those people if you simply just run out of the amount in a hospital because suddenly you have hundreds and hundreds and more people needing them at once. Don't forget to like the stream, like Daniel's just said. Thank you, Daniel. Just because everybody was liking it when the stream first started, and then nobody else has done it. Well, that's what they've called it. Maybe it'll put you in a coffin. It makes you cough. So, yeah. Wherever you can find any still in stock, Nicola. The problem is they're just selling out everywhere. Amazon is like back-ordered for loads of stuff, even in the UK now. Lots of eBay sellers that have stuff are either cancelling the orders or like massively upping the prices. Mike's putting links in. So when Weapon Collector puts the links in, if any of those apply to countries where you are, see if I don't know what you can do, Ravenwood. The only thing I'd suggest is show them some of the real videos coming out of China. Because if they see the massively overcrowded hospitals and literally bodies on the street, if that doesn't convince them, I don't know what will. Most of my family members that weren't taking it seriously, when they saw the videos coming out from China, their tone changed quite suddenly. And, all right, JBO, but I'm not saying that to sound like, let's get everybody on the prepping boat. I'm just saying with most people, if they see the actual videos coming out of China, not just it's fine because that's what the government said, their attitude changes quite suddenly. British Empire, what it means by oxygen machines, I think, is air canisters, for assisted breathing, or like the air compressor type things that they give people in hospitals. Yeah, I've had to block a load of people recently, Magic Platypus, for getting really shitty of me going, you're getting more and more paranoid every day. Why do you keep doing videos on this? It's nothing. Wow, could you tell all the dead people in China it's nothing? Because, And the thing is, it's like, I've got loads and loads of people saying to me, seeing as you've got so many masks and NBC suits and that, and you find all this stuff interesting, can you please do, a video on, like, what masks are available? You do a video, and then you've got these people going, oh, you're a paranoid lunatic, it's not going to come to anything. Well, if you don't think it's not going to come to anything, don't buy anything, and just hope nothing happens. But, those are the same people that will start crying as soon as something does happen. Yeah, well, as Stalin said, Mr. Live Era, the death of one man is a tragedy, the death of a million a statistic. That's the murderous dictatorship way of looking at it, but I think that's true for a lot of people. If it was, an actual... This, I think, why that doctor dying has made so many people angry in China was because, it was a very human case of somebody trying to deal with it. The government shutting him down, essentially getting him killed from not giving him the proper protective gear, sending him back to the hospital. And then, the government lying, saying he was still alive when he wasn't. I don't think that's exclusive to America, Kung Flu You. I think that's most people in the world. Yeah, that's happened 3 times now, hasn't it, Matthew? Where supposedly people working on the websites put the numbers up, and then a couple of hours later they went back to the, actual numbers. Cool, Black Mirror. Some people have been saying it has to be 70%. I don't know if that's true. If that's the case, that's right, Zach. But if that's the case, Black Mirror, you might have to put a bit more water in it to dilute it more. I'm sure 90% would still kill stuff more effectively. It's probably just evaporates a lot faster. Now, it seems to be a sort of soft term of censorship. If you want to get my opinion on it, it's a soft term of censorship. I think what they want is only official channels to talk about it. So basically, if you want info on it, all they want is for you to go to see the World Health Organization videos or like news channels reporting on it. It's almost like they're the only people you're allowed to listen to talk about it. Even though they're the ones that seem to have been the least trustworthy and wrong the most times so far. Where they be saying one thing, a video comes out of China showing the exact opposite thing. Now, there's lots of other people Max will survive. I don't think it's going to wipe out all of humanity. Well, it was a bit worrying when I was watching this health conference earlier, and then one of the doctors there goes, I wouldn't say this is going to be the apocalypse. It's like, why did you just bring this out of nowhere? Thank you, Philip. But yeah, it's just out of nowhere when they were saying how worried you would be. Oh, it's not going to be the apocalypse. Well, that's a good place to say it's not going to be as bad as that. But I suppose it could be anywhere near as bad as that, couldn't it? Yeah, that should be fine, Daniel. I've got loads of different suits. That's a Tai Chem, which is like they're slightly more plasticky ones rather than not as plasticky. The one I've got, that Lakeland suit's pretty much equivalent to a Tyvek. But yeah, I think it should be fine. But remember, you can always put a raincoat or something over it as well if you need to. Well, it's like we were saying before, though, about it could be potentially damaging to the stock markets, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out that somebody might want to be selling their stocks at the moment, if they knew this was coming and it not being announced to everybody else, and then potentially they'll be buying more stocks in certain companies once, everybody starts panic selling the shares. Well, the M50 uses a specific type of filter. The C50 is 40mm, so for most people, the C50 is a much better choice because you'll find filters for it more easily. Well, NATO filters aren't one particular type of filter, unless you mean 40mm RD40, NATO screw thread. But if you just mean, when people say NATO filter, quite often what they mean is it's an NBC filter, but it could be any wide variety of them. Zach, as I was saying before, the GP5, if your GP5 is in good enough condition, you got a filter that fit it properly, and that was a good modern filter, yes, it would help. But for most people, it's just a lot easier to get a modern mask. But as we were saying at the moment, that's why I was recommending cheap filter masks the other day. People saying, why are you recommending those? You hate them. I was saying, well, because some people might have cheap filter masks. If they've got a cheap filter mask and can't get anything else, it's a hell of a lot better than not wearing a mask if you have to go out. That's interesting, Johnny. I take multivitamins each day, but that's just because I'm quite sickly anyway of ulcerative colitis. So I need to keep my iron and stuff up because I can become anemic very quickly with ulcerative colitis if you're not taking iron supplements. Yeah, right. The big thing the other day, that M17 guy, was that a doctor's surgery and pharmacy have had cases spread there. So in Brighton. So that is not good news because that obviously means that potentially hundreds of people could have gone through there and been infected. Hopefully, it's not as many as that, but it shows you what happens when you get something like this that's infectious and people go to the doctors or the pharmacy. They're checking prisoners now for it near me. This was a couple of days ago, Matthew, but it was in Brighton, that they had a guy who was asymptomatic for ages caused it to spread to loads of people. And one of the things he did was go to this doctor's surgery and to the pharmacy, and now they're finding medical staff there have coronavirus. And this is the thing we were saying, not just me. Obviously, I'm not trying to say I'm taking credit for this. There was lots of channels saying this on YouTube that, were being called paranoid like a week or two ago, because they were literally saying, if this gets bad, hospitals, pharmacies, doctors, those are going to be the places it's going to spread in, because people who feel ill go there. Some of them might have it, and then they spread it potentially to doctors during the incubation period. They spread it back to patients. All the germs get in the waiting room. You pick them up from the waiting room. Yeah, again, so if like Holiday just said, Holiday Thailand, if it survives 10 days on the surface, somebody gets that on a surface or a door handle in a doctor's office or something, and it's not wiped down properly, how many people do you think are touching that door handle? Then, doing that with their face? Scott GSR, I'm not a massive fan of them, but the filters in it would be perfectly adequate, assuming your Scott GSR is in a good condition and wasn't one that was surplus because it got to the army in a state not fit for issue. The filters on Scott GSR are basically, P3, and then whatever the filler is, probably ABEC 1, ABEC 2. So they'd be perfectly fine. Yeah, well, the thing is, Arnold, as well, the bloke who travelled to France, spread it to his family in France, and then came to the UK and spread it in the UK, obviously he was on several flights, wasn't he? So you have to think every single person he was on that flight with could have potentially been infected. Did he go on public transport? Buses, taxis, things like that. I don't know if we've got a suspected and confirmed thing, but if I refresh this tracker, let's have a look. Yeah, they don't say on here how many are suspected, but in the UK there's 8 confirmed cases at the moment. But suspected is probably a lot higher. And they are also appealing, on a thing earlier in the UK saying, if you think you may have come into contact with these people or been to these addresses, phone this emergency number. The UK basically did quite a martial law type thing the other day where they said if they suspect you have it, they can forcibly quarantine you. Because the problem was they had somebody the other day in quarantine saying, I want to leave, I don't care if I'm infected. So as draconian as it is, I can understand why they would have to forcibly quarantine people if they've essentially got a deadly disease that they'll just spread otherwise. There is F4 Phantom, but I've not seen somebody who sells it in the UK for a decent price or, ships it to the UK for a decent price and everything. Yeah. How many cases are there on the cruise ship now? It's been going crazy on that ship, hasn't it? But there's 161 confirmed cases in Japan now. And bear in mind, Japan has very good medical things, and they've been taking it very seriously and following all, like risk precautions. It's not like the Japanese doctors just turned up and were like, let's have a look at you. Oh, I don't blame you, Vladimir. I've been drinking more recently, but that's just because I've been enjoying it. But yeah, it's like blame Brexit in the UK for everything. Blame Corona. Thank you very much, Aaron T. He said, any tips for wearing a mask for an extended length of time, hour or two? Problem to watch out for, anything to make it more comfortable? Right. Do you have any masks already, or do you want suggestions? Because one thing I will point out that's a very important thing with a mask is how it drains. So with some masks, well-designed masks, they have a drainage sort of slit in the chin there. Do you see that? It's not good. Oh, now I've got an additional light on my desk. I can do that, look. So let me peel the straps back on this M15. In the chin there's a little bit on the rubber. There we go. If I put it at this angle, you'll be able to see it more easily. But there's a bit, like that, like with a hole in it, basically. The idea is with a well-designed mask that your exhale valve and that drainage bit are there. So if you're wearing it for hours, sweat and moisture that builds in just drains out the bottom of the mask. Same symptoms as the common cold as well, just less sneezing. So good luck knowing if you've got it or not. So part of it, if you're going to be wearing a mask for a lot of hours, you'll probably want to consider one with a drinking tube just to stay hydrated. As I said before, I don't personally like masks or drinking tubes if they're not done well, but if you are going to have to wear a mask for an extended period, you do want a good drinking tube system. Sadly, Nicola, there's not much good cheap masks left. If you have a look at the links Mike's putting in, Weapon Collector, in the chat, he's linking certain masks for people, but the problem is everywhere's just running out of stock of the bloody things at the moment. There's a mask people asked me to review, and I bought it a few days ago, and it's going to be on back order for like another week and a half, just because it's one where, you know, Amazon UK normally has loads in stock, and at the moment, they've just been selling out everywhere. Even places like Screwfix now are selling out of masks. Like, you can't order them from their online thing for delivery. You have to check if a store's still got them in stock and then drive to that store to pick it up. At the moment, that's a very good price. Soviet Man. I assume it's the A4 and not the military variant. But regardless, that's very good. Because I would have said, going back 3 weeks ago, that's a bit pricey at the moment, considering what other prices of masks have inflated to. The Fashida's a bloody good mask. So yes, if you can get it for that price, go for it. £1 is, I think, about 70 cents boss prepping. Quid is just a colloquial term for a pound. But yeah, it's, I think, depends on the exchange rate, but it normally floats somewhere, I think, between like 67 cents and like probably 80 cents. It's generally always 70 something cents. Or sorry, it might be the other way around. I think it's like 70 pence is like $1. So it'd be like $1.30 per pound, if that makes sense. But I know it's always, yeah, it is that way around, because I know if I see something in dollars, you always get less pounds for it, because the pound's a stronger currency. Like Adrian said, yeah, £1 equals $1.30. Thank you, Adrian. GP5, as I was saying lots of times, if you've got one and you put a new filter on it and it's in good condition, it's good enough. Would I ideally want one? No. Oh no. So that's another thing that's sold out, average, and it doesn't surprise me, but where did you order it from, Richard? If it's from eBay, you get the like eBay guarantee. That's actually very good. Oh, thank you very much, Eric. I really appreciate that. You go, just going to drop this piece of info. Unidentified influenza-like illness in UP in Sweden and US in the flu season as a percentage of total influenza-like illness. Got info from other countries. So yeah, that's the other problem, isn't it, at the moment? Because it's flu season, how do you know if you've got the regular flu or you've got coronavirus? Can you potentially get both at once? Because wouldn't that increase the mortality rate quite a lot in severity? If you can essentially, you know, be really down and drained by the flu that kills people anyway, and be really down and drained by corona, that's going to surely complicate things if you can get both at once. Yeah, again, it's because, like I said, you get the thing where the politicians don't want anybody to panic. Like, the thing that annoyed me like a year or so ago when I did a video on it was when they had that volcano erupt in Hawaii, and I was seeing on the news that lots of people were desperately wearing masks, but they didn't know what mask to do it. So I made a video at the time saying, look, this is what you need for dust protection. You need E in an ABEC filter for, that means acidic vapor protection, which protects you from things like sulfur dioxide and that sort of stuff. And I had lots of people from Hawaii or West Coast states in America saying, thank you, you know, this is really useful. I can now get a mask that actually protects me. But the government was saying, don't buy a mask because you won't know the right type to get and you won't fit it to your face properly because you won't know what size to get. That's good advice, isn't it? Rather than telling people what they should do, just say, oh, don't bother protecting yourself. You won't get it right. You know, if you had two options, it's far better to say to somebody, right, if you did want to buy a mask, this is what you need to get, rather than them saying, oh, we're not going to tell you what type to get. Not going to help, is it? The GSR, if it makes an airtight seal to your face and is in good condition, the GSR will protect you from coronavirus as well as any other mask. It will depend, Pico, how the shape of it goes. I've got some that cause distortion to vision, others that don't. It will really depend on the quality of it. I don't think you're going to get any mask for under £10 now, sadly, just because everywhere's getting cleared out. Thank you very much, Bradley. I don't want to speculate too much on that, but there was a lab in Wuhan, wasn't there, that dealt with viruses and bacteria, and that's also the place this has started. So that could be pure coincidence. There's several ways of looking at it. It could be pure coincidence. It could be that they just worked on, like vaccines there and stuff like that, and then it got leaked by accident. And I'm not saying the vaccine is a disease. What I'm saying is, like, they have diseases there so they can work on vaccines, and then, somebody dropped something or got something on their shoe, they weren't deconned properly as they left, and it spread that way. Or it's potentially, yes, either a bioweapon that was released intentionally, which I doubt, or a bioweapon that got out just, again, due to human accidents. Again, there's no way of knowing, and I don't really want to be, going into full conspiracy mode of who made the bioweapon. But, regardless, it's out now and it's killing people, and infecting people. So I think the main thing, it's kind of like, when everybody says the nuclear war thing, well, who would win this nuclear war? Or who started this nuclear war? Well, if a nuclear war started and it was mutually assured destruction, I think for normal people it wouldn't matter because you could be vaporized. No, Avin, I do not think that would help at all. Apparently, a handkerchief would be better if it's dry rather than wet, because then it filters better. Is it a new one, Trumpet? Because I watched some of Stefan's older videos on it. The GP6 isn't a mask sack, unless you mean GP5M, in which case it would be the same as a GP5. Depends on condition and the filter. I've not heard anything about that at all yet, Pico, but you never know. I think it is far more just at the moment, though, coughing, sneezing, breathing in close proximity to people, getting it on your hands and surfaces, fomites, whatever they call them. There's already confirmed cases in the US, though, aren't there? But is there just lots of people awaiting results? But in the US, there's currently... hang on, I need to scroll up so I can see this properly. I need to refresh the page, it's broken. There's currently 13 confirmed cases in the US. So there's that. But yeah, if there's hundreds of more people awaiting test results, then that might panic some people. Yeah, that's a bit. I never get magic platypus because I have underlying health issues. That's why it worries me more than something. If I was perfectly healthy, I was probably just going, I'll be fine. But, I've got elderly relatives. I've got relatives with illnesses. I've got underlying illnesses. So when people go, it's just a flu, it's like, wow, even the flu can be quite harmful to those people. Yeah, as I've been saying, pretty much, Adrian, advice is any mask, if it's in good airtight condition, all the valves work, and you can still get modern filters for it that fit it, then yes. The only masks I can think of that would be totally useless is I've got this old World War II mask that's in bad condition. I can't put a new filter on it. Animal transmission, no idea. I know obviously it's probably come from animals into humans, but can it spread from humans to animals and then back to people? No idea. There's no evidence I've seen of that yet, but again, like all the health agencies are saying different things at this stage, aren't they? So we're basically playing a guessing game. But yeah, my dad went out to buy loads and loads more canned food today for the house, as in, like food that, last year's in the can and you can eat cold if you really want to. It's probably not advisable, or warm up just on the stove, or in the oven or whatever, or put it in a glass Pyrex bowl, I guess, and microwave it. But yeah, I kind of find that funny that, normally he'd never care about that, and he was actually going, when I go shopping today, do you think I should get a load more canned foods? So there was that as well. I don't know, full nuclear breakfast. You'd have to look up what recommendations say. I'd say always go for more rather than less, because you'd need water for washing and stuff like that, cleaning your teeth. Also, some people might drink more. You might always spill some of the water. Depends on what rating of it is. U2K, Y2K masks, as in these. These come in both P1, P2, and P3 variants. So obviously, the higher the P rating, the better it is. This one is only P1, sadly. Yeah, FFP1 on this one. So I wouldn't recommend one of this protection rating. But the better models, yes. I doubt that, Mazzy, because... sorry, unless it gets really bad in... Oh dear. Unless it gets really bad in terms of actual what's it? The stages where nobody even comes into work for utilities anymore. I don't think you have to worry about that. It's not like there's going to be nuclear strikes on water facilities and electric companies. I'm not really worried about that. I think it's more just I think it's just a common cough at this time of year, to be honest. Other people in my house have been coughing and sneezing recently. Oh, thank you very much, Vladimir. I'll have one after this, or maybe I'll have something a bit stronger, actually. I might have some mead, because honey's good antibacterial, isn't it, in the good way? So that'd be good for my throat. Well, that was one of the things I've been saying, Shadow, but yeah, appreciate it, Vladimir. I always find it funny, though, when you see a massive amount of rubles and then it's, £4.87. But I still massively appreciate it, thank you. But I do have some Yorkshire tea in the cupboard, yeah. We've actually got a lot of Yorkshire tea. So, if everything goes to shit, I could still at least keep making cups of tea for quite a while. Mike can share them again for you. There's also links in the description. PTM fallout masks, yes, they would work to a degree, because they are literally thick bits of cotton, so they filter stuff. Right, stock markets. And that's one of the things I've been saying for a while. I think they're going to suddenly crash when it becomes evident that everything's not fine to the mass amount of people. Shares in bio, like pharmacy company type things might go up. I wonder if Avon share prices and like MSA and all those companies' share prices gone up recently. I don't know. But I think it's going to cause a lot of problems. Things. For the people that didn't hear, the other day I had a load of my orders cancelled from China just because they said we're not going to be able to fulfill them due to coronavirus. I've not had any issues importing gas mask, no, White Wolf. I've had issues sometimes where stuff just seems to be stuck by customs or takes ages to come through, but well, Bogdanov, although your name's English nationalist, I prefer the fact you've got a Bogdanov picture. It just food, water, masks, whatever. The main problem for me, of course, is even if I do what I'm doing at the moment and bulking up a bit more on some of my medications, a lot of them don't have very long shelf lives, and after that my colon health starts going down like that. Well, I'd suggest the exact thing boss prepping that Dr. John Campbell suggests in his video. If you've got a parcel from China, don't bother throwing it away. That's completely unnecessary. If you're really worried, keep it stored in a box for ages and then open it up when the germs will be dead anyway. Or you can just, sanitize it all down properly. Yep, dump it. Dump it again. You think the Bogdabots have caused the coronavirus? Was this the last step in their master plan? Depends where you're traveling to, Magic Platypus. I mean, some people aren't going to have a choice, are they? Because I have actually got these on my desk, so I was, coughing and doing that before the stream. I did finish my cough medicine off earlier, though, so I might pop to the pharmacy tomorrow and get some cough medicine. Right, on S10 sizing, if you look at the GP5 sizing guide, like size 01 GP5 is a really small one. That would be a size 3 S10. Size 2 to 3 GP5s, which are sort of the medium ones, medium to large, that would be size 2. Size 4, which is a large GP5 for 71-inch heads or over, that would be size 1 on the S10. Actually, S10s are size 1, 2, 3, 4, aren't they? It's the FM12 that's just size 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, use the opposite size to the GP5 size guide, which you can find online. It's not a perfect comparison to how they measure for an S10, but bear in mind, size 1 S10 is the largest, size 4 is the smallest. Just invert the GP5 sizing guide and you're good to go on that regard. They're telling you not to wear masks. Why would they tell you not to wear masks? What? Because it might cause a panic. In parts of Australia as well, you've got all the smog and that, haven't you? And all the horrible ash clouds from the fires. Thank you very much, Tom. I never quite get that. I do like that video, though, where the Rothschilds do bow to the Bogdanovs in it. But yeah. Is he the weird-looking Russian guy or Ukrainian guy or something? Smeanerman, whatever he's called. But I definitely know where the Bogdanovs are. The weirdest one was when that Rothschild guy over Buckinghamshire disappeared and they thought he might have died in a plane crash. And then apparently an eyewitness said, and I don't think this was somebody trolling the newspaper, that there was a strange-looking man with a French accent on the phone saying if only he answered the call or something. It's like, we're getting to the stage of dangerous meme magic territory here, aren't we? That makes no sense. So even though lots of people and doctors have been saying even if a surgical mask doesn't offer very good protection, they at least stop you rubbing your face, and it's a reminder not to do that. So now saying, oh, despite the fact a mask will make it harder to actually get airborne stuff into you, or particulates into you, and it stops you touching your face, if you don't take the mask off properly when you get back indoors, that makes it worse, so don't wear it. That's total shit, isn't it? The Bogdanovs would need a big size GP5, wouldn't they? Yeah, if somebody was asking about the GP5 sizing, there's a picture of it on my wall, but you can just find it on Google from the old Soviet civil defense posters. But yeah, they measure you like that, basically. It's like the angle the mask goes on your face, basically. Like that, yeah. Go on eBay, type in civil defense poster or Soviet poster, and you can find loads of posters just like that. Oh, thank you, Vladimir, because it actually lets you post links, doesn't it? But yeah, thank you. Vodka's only 40% unless you get the really, really strong shit, like grain alcohol tier stuff. So Polish 95% vodka would work or similar. But I think 40% vodka, although it'll kill a lot of stuff, wouldn't necessarily kill coronavirus. That's good, Morgan. I found sometimes the Soviet masks as well, the more you wear them, the slightly looser they get. So if it was too tight to begin with, then it can become really comfortable. And also, not all Soviet masks are kind of identical with sizing. Like GP5, Shums, GP5Ms, I find they're pretty similar. But I found that obviously the PMG, you want like one size bigger because the PMG is like really tight for some reason. The best M9 copy is the Finnish M61, I think, by a fucking mile. If you don't know, I've got that to hand. The only thing is you obviously need a 60 to 40mm converter for it, but yeah, my first ever gas mask, this one, the one that fucking started it all. But very high quality rubber. You can even get some of these made by Nokia, the same Nokia that used to make mobile phones or still makes mobile phones. So, that's a nice bit of trivia. My gas mask was made by Nokia. But the Finnish ones have very good strap quality, very good rubber quality, very good peripheral seal. It's a shame they never made those masks in 40mm. But they did also make these, which is the Finnish M71, which is like the same type of rubber and straps, basically, just on a panoramic design. And it's 40mm. Wow, I'm kind of tempted to say that pewter one I have, Johnny. No, was it Johnny said it? No, sorry, not Johnny. F4 Phantom said it. This piece of shit right here, it might look good, but two major problems of it. The straps are held on via tension alone, or like friction. They're not properly mounted to the mask, so if you're tightening the straps, it might just go ping and fly off. So there's that. Other big issue, made from a very soft rubber, so the weight of the filter causes the mask to collapse on itself. It's one of those masks that if a bit more care had been put into the design, it might be really good, because it's a really good panoramic lens on it. But yeah, other than that, it's a bit shit, really. But again, it's because it's one of those Chinese copies where they've kind of copied a mask, but they've not understood why the features were good they were copying from. I won't say everything again, first name, last name, but thank you for the donation. I'm trying to think if there's any particular highlights from the stream that are worth re-mentioning. There's not really an answer to that, Gelsoft Bob. There's so many masks, and it would depend on what your preferences are in a mask. Well, the S10 and FM12 are different masks, Lewis. So the Dutch could very well have both masks in their inventory. But the red band filter, I think, is a training filter, like the particulate one that was used for tear gas. What about links I posted, Newt? I don't know if I'm missing something there. It was about 150 at one point, M Foley, but at the moment I've given some away to like relatives just who needed masks and that, and friends. Yeah, I'd certainly say avoid travel if possible. But yeah, sadly for a lot of people that isn't reality. I think for most people it will be balancing up when it gets to the stage where they might want to seriously consider, I can find you one right now, JTP guy, but it probably won't ship to you because China's, not shipping at the moment with things. So I've had a lot of orders cancelled, but let me see if I can find. Oh, I'm gonna have to shorten the address, aren't I? Because oh no, it's not letting me log into AliExpress. Never mind. Let me see if there's any on eBay at the moment. I put in something like paint spray mask because they love putting weird tags on them like that. Soviet paint spray mask is one of the ones they call them for some reason. Like, I didn't know the Soviets were still making masks intended for people spraying paint, but apparently they are, according to the Chinese. This is if any turn up. But as said, at the moment, the issue is good luck getting parcels from China, because I've had orders cancelled and sellers like, sorry, we're going to have to refund you because the factory's still closed and we don't know when it's going to reopen. I can't actually see any of the bloody shit pewter masks on here at the moment. Which is strange, because normally a load pop up and I have to go to people like, no, not that one. Don't get that one. Yeah, there's none obviously turning up at the moment. Yeah, never mind then. Sorry, I can't help you with that. If AliExpress was letting me log in, but then maybe the reason I can't log into AliExpress at the moment is because you can't order anything from China. Yep, you can use your P3 filter, Arnold, for painting and decorating, mowing the lawn if you've got hay fever, sanding stuff down, all stuff like that will work absolutely fine for that. It'll be overkill, but you'll be very well protected. A2P3 would be fine, a troubled man, because assuming that you can get it cheaper than an ABEC one, it's because I think it just needs to be the charcoal being in there to absorb some of the vapor or adsorb the vapor. The whole BEK bits of ABEC is basically impregnated other materials into the charcoal to give it extra, absorption power or adsorption power. Catalytic conversion power. The coronavirus, Daniel. It's the new name they've given it today because they've decided to name it today. And they could have come up with a cooler name, but they didn't. What filters from me on eBay? Hello, Chef Excellent. Depends what you're using it for. If you're using it for vapors, would completely depend on the gas. I can kind of give you an explanation of that if you look at this. I know it's not in English, but different gases and different concentrations, the filters last different amounts of time. However, if you were to be wanting a filter just for protection from coronavirus, probably fucking ages, because most of it comes down to just there being a filter medium there, not necessarily having to work against certain chemical vapors. Oh, so I wonder if that's just a lot of sellers are just literally like, oh, we can't sell at the moment because we've run out of stock, so I'm just on vacation, bye. Yeah, because Chef Excellence, the reason is that for viruses, all you really need, well, originally all we were saying you needed was particle filters, because that's what the actual official, like all the medical advice was. But now we're considering there might be vapor aspect to it. If it's airborne, then yeah, all you need is just some charcoal there, so it absorbs the stuff coming through, because it's not like there's flesh-eating, gas coming through. Morgan, thank you very much. Will an FP5 filter keep my eyes from watering while chopping onions? It certainly will. With onions, I find, and like really smelly things like that, you generally do need at least like A1P3 or whatever, or A2P3. FP5 has definitely got like an A2 aspect to it as well as P3. Because with some things, the odors can get through even if the particles get stuck. If obviously odor particles are small enough, I guess. But yes, an FP5 filter. If all this blows over and nothing happens, you could chop onions and you wouldn't be able to smell them with an NBC filter. Right, Pico, thank you very much. He said, what's your opinion on Gore Chempak selectively permeable fabric CPRN suits? Let me look them up, because post your Discord ID and I can invite you. But yeah, let me look those models up and I'll tell you what I think. These like the military style ones. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are the military style ones, aren't they? Let me look up the other one you mentioned, but if so, that's like the British Mark III, Mark IV NBC suits. They're pretty good, but some of them might stain your clothes underneath like a charcoal color. Let me look up the other one, then I'll add you. Yeah, from what I can see, they look like the old sort of Mark III, Mark IV style NBC suits. So with regards to that, yeah, they would work absolutely fine. They're very easy to decontaminate. Just bear in mind, don't wear your best clothes under them, because if they have the charcoal sort of felt lining on the inside, what will end up happening is, right, it doesn't like your name. Let me try it again when I just try to put into Discord. Pot88212311. Although it might be one of those weird things where if I just constantly keep putting it in, it'll work. It's not a capital P on pot, is it? No, I'll try that now. No, let me put it back as a lowercase p. All right, post your name again in a second, and we'll just see if it works again the second time. Yeah, just copy and paste it in again, and I'll try again. That's not just with Maya at the moment, Wojak. It seems a lot of places are having that issue. 3M literally said they're going to have to ramp up mask production way more than normal just because of the massive more demand. Still not liking your name. Oh, it says way too spicy. You're sending friends requests too quickly. Okay, so I need to wait for it to time out and then I can try again. No, it says check capitalization, spelling, any spaces. So pot 88212311. It still doesn't like it. If they don't have activated charcoal, then that'll be fine. It's not going to get your clothes dirty. Do you think Justin Trudeau actually did that shot zombie? He wasn't trying to wear blackface at all. He was just wearing his activated charcoal suit in case he was gassed. He took the suit off and then accidentally had blackface on. That sounds like it'd be very good then, Pico. So it's better than the older things I was thinking it was, but I thought the stuff it was good enough anyway, so if it's a more modern, better thing. I'm just going to keep trying to very slowly send you friends requests in case it lets it work. No, Anonymous Anglo, I think you're missing the point. The joke was, if Shop Zombie was saying, don't wear, be careful if you're wearing an old charcoal-lined NBC suit. Never mind, I'm not going to bother explaining a joke if you missed it. Oh, good. Because I've had some people on these streams that sometimes turn out to be German, which is always a bit of irony there. Where you make a joke and they're like, "That is not funny," and I'm like, "Are you German?" Because that was obviously a joke. Yes, I am German. What does that have to do with it? Thank you very much to Sparrow. I'm still trying to get Pot 8821's friends request to work, but it doesn't like it. But yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It always helps, especially with YouTube demonetizing so much of this shit at the moment, because they're saying, well, we don't want you talking about it because you're not a media anchor. The particle filter will still work in it, Daft Chunky, so I'd say get them just for the particle filters if they're dirt cheap, just because you can use them when sanding, grinding, anything like that. What's the video that starts by stating this virus is airborne? I don't know if I've seen it. I just replied to you, Daft Chunky. The answer is right, let me try it again. I'll just copy and paste it in. Sometimes, though, Pico, Discord can be really annoying where I'm putting in, like, there we go, it's worked that time, even though it was exactly the same as the last time. But there you go. Yeah, there's definitely a problem with Discord where quite often you can literally have a copy and paste to somebody's name and then all of a sudden it works, where before it's going like, oh, that's not a name, that's not a name. It started in 2019, Soviet man. It started in December 2019. It's just you didn't hear about it then because the Chinese were hoping it would go away. What was the Polish pronunciation, Adrian Watson? Dzień dobry, something like that. I've still got a rebreather scrubber that's not activated yet, so if shit gets really bad, I can pull a pin on that rebreather scrubber. If I don't initially explode, I might survive corona, but then I might succumb to lack of oxygen. I'd get at least 2 or 3 per person, Smoky Blazer, maybe more. A lot of it depends. Do you think the filters will get damaged or like damp or anything like that? That's not a bad price for an M10M. I'm not a massive fan of the mask, but yeah, €5 of the complete kit. Not bad at all. Let me look it up, JJJ. Ooh. Is that just a simple N95 mask? Yeah, it's you want something a bit better than that, but if it's the only thing you can get, then it'll work. Well, to a degree, because it is a filtered mask. It's at least not a surgical mask. Or is that literally because of how back-ordered they are, Ronnie? Right. Again, this is the official numbers, which we all know are completely fucking wrong at this point. But it's over 1,000 now, isn't it? Yeah, 1,018. But if you've seen the videos coming out of China, you know it's been at that number like a week ago at least. Yeah, there's so many parallels with Chernobyl. There's like the doctor who was like Sitnikov. Oh, you know, your dosimeters are wrong. You're wrong that there's a disease. Go back to the hospital and die. So there's that guy. There's all the local officials trying to claim there's not a problem, and then getting dealt with by the higher government. Then there's the higher government trying to downplay it because obviously a virus can't happen in communist China. Yeah, Vincent, post your Discord ID, and I will add you. And we'll see if it takes me like 20 attempts to get it to work again. Yep, they're good filters. Bangers and mash. I've got quite a few of those around here or in mask bags, just because at one point you could get them for like a £5 each. The P3, only ones. So I just put them in random mask bags. And again, it's like another parallel with Chernobyl. You know how everybody else suddenly realized that something was happening, even when the Soviets were trying to say it wasn't, because the huge cloud of radiation that everybody was detecting. Well, it's now we can see all the ash coming from the crematoriums. Albeit it's fine. All right, yeah, I just saw you've posted your ID. The thing is, I'd love to do a Chinese impression on these streams, but I think YouTube might not take that well, because the thing I've said about this before, and I got a load of people get funny at me about this, but is if like you're obviously a white European person and you're making fun of Americans or other white Europeans, you can generally get away with it. Unfortunately, due to the kind of lynch mob political correctness type thing, as soon as you do it to somebody who's a bit more different than your kind of ethnic group, you start getting into trouble. But there's a bloke I work with who likes to, the Father Ted. Does anybody know the Father Ted bit where he puts the straw hat on? There's a bloke I work with who does that sort of shit constantly. That's quite funny. I hear you're a racist now, Father. Yes, you did. Donate, Tom, I remember. Let me add you. And again, I'll hope it works after a couple of attempts rather than thousands like some of the usernames do, even when people give them me correctly. And it didn't copy and paste it. Of course it didn't. Let's try again. I'll be going off fairly soon on this stream because my stomach's already hurting. That's just ulcerative colitis doing that. Yep. I can do an American impression, Shark Zombie. It depends which state I'm meant to be doing. I mean, apparently Tommy Wiseau is from Arkansas. So I'm Tommy Wiseau from Arkansas. That doesn't even sound like Tommy Wiseau, does it? I can't even do it now. Can't even remember what Estonians sound like, in all honesty. Sylvie freaking accent. That's probably the closest I can do to it. The troubled man. But it's like slightly Dutch. Now I'm trying to do it more. It's going off. Yeah, Sylvie freaking. Yeah, Sylvie freaking. I do have South African viewers, so I don't want to upset them. Yeah, you are tearing me apart, Lisa. Oh, I hope he doesn't mind me showing this, but I'll show everybody. A bloke I know, because where I volunteer at the Blue Cross, which is an animal shelter, one of the blokes who went there is really into movies, so we met Tommy Wiseau the other day. So I hope he doesn't mind me showing everybody on the stream. But yeah, that's him with Tommy Wiseau. When he went to like a screening of The Room or something that was, yeah. I just thought people might find that interesting, seeing as we were talking about Tommy Wiseau randomly. I did ask him, does Tommy Wiseau actually seem like a human being or is he an alien? He says, yeah, he does seem like he is actually a living person. So, yeah. Oh, hi, Mark. I did not hit him. I did not. But anyway, I'll be heading off now. Thank you for all the donations, everybody. Let me make sure I've invited everybody to the server. who's donated rather than just got them on pending friends requests. Yeah, that's everybody. Well, Michael Jackson and Tommy Wiseau do look pretty similar, don't they? I'll hopefully stream tomorrow at a similar time. You're already on the Discord, Vladimir. Unless you're asking for somebody else. I can literally see your name right there. Hang on, when I scroll down far enough. Or are you not on there anymore? Oh, you changed your account. Yeah, post your ID, Vladimir, and I'll add you back on. You could have said at any point when I've added you back on. Yeah, I think I sent it, Tom. Yep, I've sent you an invite. Just check it, it's there. Yeah, as soon as Vladimir posts his new Discord ID, I'll invite him. Thank you, Mr. VVS. Friends, add. Oh, your name worked first time. That's a surprise. Doesn't normally work that well with Discord. Draeger FPS 7000 good. Is that a mask or a filter? Let me search it. Draeger stuff's not normally good, especially modern Draeger stuff. I mean, Draeger's been around for ages, so their quality control can obviously vary quite a bit if you think of a company that old. Yeah, it looks very good, and it looks like it's 40mm, so yeah, if it's a good price, go for it. That would be my advice. Right, thank you, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. It's been a good one tonight. But yeah, the point is it's getting worse and worse by the sound of it, but let's not panic too much. Let's hope everything's fine. I'm sure if we say everything's fine often enough, it will be fine, because that's what the media thinks. But yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks for all the donations. As I said, I've got some masks on back order. Oh, if anybody's wondering what tomorrow's video is, because it's already been filmed, let me go and check for you. I think it's something to do with radiation again. Scheduled. Oh, yeah, it's does UVC create X-rays? And it's the one where I was testing a UVC light with several Geiger counters. And I've since kind of explained that a bit more. But yeah, UV light certainly does cause reactions with Geiger counters, but it's not necessarily because of ionizing radiation. Although UVC does technically cross into the X-ray threshold with very soft X-rays, so who knows? But yeah, I hope everybody's found the stream interesting. Oh, I think Hype was saying he was trying to fix that at one point, but yeah, it's like an admin thing, but then sometimes it gives people a message when they just try and join. But oh, you will be on Twitch, right? I'll see you then, Mike. I'm just going to go get something to eat, and then I'll see you then, right? Rontgen, Sievert, Gray. What are the other ones? Barakuel or Barakul is the one I can never pronounce. Curie I can pronounce. Is there any other radiation units I'm not even thinking of at the moment? There's also all the radionuclides, strontium 90, cobalt 60, cesium 137, europium, whatever the number is for that, iodine 131 or iodine 131. Right, anyway, yeah, night everybody. There's the end stream button because they've moved it again.